Russell, you have such an important story to tell. In some ways it's heart-wrenching, but in some ways it's really inspiring as well. So why don't we go back a little bit and let's talk about what your life was like growing up.
My life was very tumultuous, to say the least, when I was growing up. You know, starting around the age of 7, I was experiencing a severe OCD, which consumed my life. I lived every day as a slave to my OCD, and I wasn't able to function other than, you know, doing the rituals that came with my OCD. If I didn't do rituals, you know, my OCD would say, oh, your mom's gonna die, or your dad's gonna die, or your house is gonna be set on fire. So you know, and I believed that. So I would have to do these rituals. You know, so that started around the age of 7, along with severe social anxiety. Pretty much, I guess it accumulated over the first couple years of my life, and then it exploded later on.
Did you have any symptoms before the age of 7, or is that when everything started?
I had, you know, like in preschool, I would isolate myself, you know, stay inside my cubby all day with my blanket and not interact with any kids. You know, there were, I had delayed speech, you know, one of the classic signs of autism. But yeah, when when I hit around the age of 7, it just when it exploded, I guess.
And where did it go from there?
It went to the point of my anxiety being so bad that I became agoraphobic and wasn't able to leave the house. Therefore, I had to stop attending school. I lost contact with all my friends, you know, forever. You know, and I became a recluse. You know, I would not even step outside because I was afraid of seeing somebody that I knew, and I didn't want to get asked why, you know, I hadn't been at school or whatever. Every year, you know, some new symptom arose, whether it be OCD, depression, anxiety, mood swings. Later on in my life, it was anorexia. From a young age, kind of blindsided by these symptoms.
And this book, Inside Out, this is really a story of your life from the time that you were born up until the point that you wrote the book.
Yeah, I wrote the book in 2011.
And it seems to go through each year, year by year, and
yeah.
It kind of talks about that progression.
Yeah, it does. And there are some poems intertwined that, you know, help to have, you know, help you relate to what it's kind of like living with autism or what I was feeling at the time.
I read a line in one of your poems that says, God must have been drunk when he put my brain together.
Yeah. What
does that mean?
You know, my brain definitely doesn't function at a normal capacity, especially when I was younger. I mean, I've come a long way.
Another thing you wrote was, I'd like to go to heaven and ask God, why me?
I've come to terms with it now, but, you know, even up until last year when I was still really struggling and had no idea why I was really here, why was all the pain, the suffering, the agony, you know, just hitting me every day of every year. And, you know, the depressive episodes of just asking myself, why do I go on? You know, I'm wondering what, you know, from the get-go, pretty much, why I have faced these hardships constantly. I still do, every day.
Well, I have to ask you, how do you go from being a boy that can't leave the house to sitting here as a 25-year-old young man with me, with cameras in your face and talking to me very intelligently? How did you make that transition? Do you even know?
It's hard, you know, I have to stop myself a lot, and, you know, it's hard for me to fathom how far I've come.
Did you ever think it would happen?
No.
No.
No. I was very low functioning. You know, I was, you know, scared that I was never going to be able to hold a job, have a career, have a family. I thought I would be living with my parents my whole life.
And now you live on your own.
Now I live on my own.
And you have a girlfriend. And a job.
You know, a job, a speaking career. I wrote a book. But I think the main thing is once I started embracing my challenges and not running away from them.
Right.
You know, saying, you know, these are coming to me for a reason. These challenges are being brought upon me for a reason, and I need to figure a way through them. You know, I have to run towards them and not away from them. And through that, I have learned so much, whether it be just how to treat people with decency, or about myself, like coping mechanisms to get through the next episode. I think that's when I really blossomed. And you know, the past 2 years, I've had some, you know, pretty traumatic events happen.
I bet you surprised a lot of people, not just yourself.
I did, you know, and it's like even 7 months ago, it's like a lifetime ago, the progress I've made.
Wow. So let me ask you this. You started a public speaking career, and of course you wrote the book. So when you go out and you do your public speaking, what is it that you want people to get from that? What message are you trying to send?
Hope, inspiration, motivation, acceptance, and understanding of autism, but you know, every other illness out there, whether physical or mental. I want to give hope to parents of kids on the spectrum, because my parents went through an extraordinarily difficult time, you know, worrying about me, and it turned out to be for naught, you know. I want to give hope to parents, you know, something, you know,
to hold on to.
Yeah,
to believe in.
Don't give up on your kid. You know, they're not going to give up on you. So you believe in them, and they will go far. I want to give hope to kids themselves, because I was scared of my future. You know, if you embrace your challenges and you know you really persevere through them, you know, you don't go around the problem, you go through the problem. I really think that your capacity for personal growth is exponential.
So when you do the public speaking, I know what that message is. When you decided to write the book, what message were you trying to send through the book?
When I wrote the book, I didn't have any friends, you know. I was all alone. No one knew my suffering, right? And so I guess I wanted some people to understand, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to get through this life, and I think I almost wrote the book to give myself some support, you know, but it turned out to help a lot of people and a lot of families. And after I learned that, then I really pushed the book hard, and it was like, okay, I need to get this out there more, not for me anymore, but for the people who read it, because it gave them hope and inspiration, and you know, just kind of an insight into what living with autism is like.
Well, it's amazing that you went from, you know, not being able to go to school, not being able to leave the house, OCD, to authoring a book, doing public speaking, doing, you know, television, job, girlfriend, living on your own. I mean, the story is extremely inspiring. And these are the times I always wish we had an hour-long show instead of a 30-minute show, because I would love to just keep talking to you and find out how all this happened. But I'd like us to start following your story and see how you progress from here. And that would be great. And of course, we're going to tell everyone where they can buy the book.
All right.
And I'll bet it means a lot to you when people purchase the book and read it.
It does. It
probably means a lot. I read some of it, and it's easy to read, but it's just so interesting. Like, because these are the things that we don't really understand, and you really put it out here. Your soul is out here.
And I try to make it, you know, pretty straightforward. I mean, it is an easy read, but it's so informative at the same time.
And for lots of age levels too, so that's great. Thank you so much for joining us here on The Plush Life. We look forward to having you back.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.